Dunkleosteus. This 33-foot-long armored fish from the Devonian era lacked teeth, but its jaw contained razor-sharp protrusions of bone that it could use to pierce and cut through its prey. These bones grew continuously, and as they did, the edges rubbed together with those of the opposing jaw, acting like self-sharpening shears. This would ensure the fangs were always ready to chomp into armored prey like arthropods, ammonites, and other fish. This 4-ton monster fish patrolled inshore waters and could snatch up prey by opening and closing its jaws within 50 to 60 milliseconds. If this thing came back nowadays, they'd probably make fishing the most dangerous profession in the world, along with our next entry. Number 9. Helicoprion. The mystery of this bizarre fish starts with a weird fossil and numerous attempts to figure out what it was and how to classify it. Helicoprion puzzled paleontologists and ichthyologists for over a century. The only remains of this creature up until 2013 were from a fossilized whorl of teeth. While most scientists agreed that the teeth belonged to the lower jaw, that didn't prevent the presumed location of the teeth from migrating around the body in sometimes fanciful arrangements that can be used in numerous illustrations and reconstructions. With the later discovery of some portions of a jaw, the location of its buzzsaw-like teeth were definitely determined to fill the lower jaw. Strangely, there were no upper teeth, so this creature could terrifyingly gum and bite you at the same time. The jaw would close, rotating the teeth backwards, much like a circular blade saw. It probably fed on the soft bodies of squid and other cephalopods. The whorl of teeth was formed as they continuously grew outwards, creating a spiral as it aged. The teeth at the beginning of the whorl being small and gradually increasing in size toward the end. Another fish with an equally odd and terrifying face, Edestus, had offset scissor-like jaws that protrude out of its face. No thank you. Number 8. Arthropleura. This is not something you want to see crawling around anywhere near you. Arthropleura was an 8.5-foot-long millipede from the Carboniferous era, and though it was herbivorous, likely feeding on dead plant matter like modern millipedes, it still has scare factor. I'm burning the house down if I find this under my sink. Just because it won't try to eat you doesn't prevent it from being creepy while it scuttles about. Ugh. Fossil trackways have been discovered showing that Arthropleura could move and maneuver quickly, undulating hundreds of legs in rhythm to nauseate and disturb anyone watching. These are the largest known land invertebrates of all time, and it is unlikely that they had any predators, but it could probably rear up into a defensive posture and look you straight in the eyes. Number 7. Leviathan melvillei. This extinct whale was named for both the monstrous sea creature Leviathan from the Old Testament, that when he rises up the mighty are terrified, they retreat before his thrashing, and for Herman Melville, the author of the novel Moby Dick, a tale of an accursed white whale that terrorized Captain Ahab and eventually brought about his passing and the destruction of his ship and crew. This is an amazing namesake to live up to. The Leviathan melvillei is related to modern sperm whales like Moby Dick, and lived during the Miocene epoch. It was 45 to 57 feet long and had a 10-foot long skull that housed 40 14.5-inch long teeth. These are the longest teeth used for feeding known from any animal extinct or alive. They fed on large prey at the surface of the water, including other whales. This whale likely became so large because it was competing directly with Megalodon for food, who we'll get to a little bit later. Number 6. Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus is one of the most spectacular and horrible creatures that ever stalked the earth. It had an elongated skull, much like a crocodile, and a snout filled with approximately 64 straight conical teeth. Evidence suggests that it was a semi-aquatic, so there was nowhere to escape this fish and dinosaur-devouring monster. Spinosaurus is currently the largest of all known carnivorous dinosaurs, even larger than T-Rex and Gigantosaurus. While the exact size is debated, recent finds and studies suggest that Spinosaurus may have been 41 to 59 feet in length and weighed in excess of 20 tons. It had elongated neural spines that ran along its back, creating a sail-like structure that made it look even larger and more terrifying. Number 5. Titanoboa. For those of you with ophidiophobia, this one's for you. Titanoboa was a 42-foot-long snake that lived during the Paleocene epoch. It likely hunted much like crocodiles do, lurking, partially submerged at the water's edge so that it could ambush thirsty, unsuspecting animals. It would strike from the water and wrap itself around its prey, delivering a crushing demise. It lived in the rainforests of South America, where temperatures were warmer and the tropics of today. This allowed the cold-blooded reptiles to grow larger than modern reptiles can. This snake would have Indiana Jones doing the Scooby-Doo and Shaggy run. Like Zoink Scoob. Number 4, Gigantosaurus. Gigantosaurus was 43 feet long and larger than the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but only by 3 feet. It had a 5.2 foot long skull with 64 8-inch long compressed and serrated teeth that were made for slicing through flesh, though they were not capable of crushing bone like the teeth of the Tyrannosaurus. Gigantosaurus is from the Cretaceous period and lived in what is now Argentina. It was related to the nearly equally sized Carcharodontosaurus from Africa. Evidence suggests the possibility that Gigantosaurus was a pack hunter and that they hunted large sauropods. This would make it the only theropod that actively hunted sauropods. Another interesting feature is that the lower jaw was broadened slightly, allowing it to handle smaller prey. It's easy to imagine Gigantosaurus chomping down on some flesh of some goofy bipedal mammals if it had ever been given the chance. Number 3, Megalodon. This 59-foot-long shark lived and hunted in the same waters as Livyatan melville. It had massive 7-foot-wide jaws containing 5 rows of around 276 compressed blade-like teeth that were made for cutting and grasping powerful prey. Sharks have skeletons made of cartilage that are not typically preserved in the fossil record, and so the jaws of the megalodon and a few traces of fossils are all paleontologists have to build their hypothesis. The body shape of a megalodon is likely similar to a larger and more robust great white shark. If a megalodon exhibited ambush hunting behavior like great white sharks, it would have taken prey by surprise from below and made precision strikes to immobilize its prey with an amazingly strong bite. Sharks are also known for shaking their prey side to side to increase bite forces. Fossil evidence of teeth marks found on whale vertebrae suggests that Megalodon was an active predator of large whales. Their teeth are built with a structure that would rarely crack even if they hit the bone. Damn, that's crazy. Number 2, Jacalopterus. 3 words, giant sea scorpion. Or 4 words, less tasty looking lobster. That's right, this 8-foot-long arthropod lived in the water and had pincher claws. Frankly, all of the Eurypterids are scary as hell, and this entire video could be exclusively about how terrifying these things look. Many of them look eerily similar to the facehuggers from the Alien movie franchise. They are nightmare fuel. Jacalopterus had segmented bodies with multiple specialized limbs, some with spikes. They had spring-loaded claws to snatch up fish as they passed by, with the largest having an 18-inch spiked claw. Smaller sea scorpions are known to have crawled ashore to mate and even shed their outer skin. Imagine finding the molt of one of these monsters on the shore just before going swimming. Already with a sense of dread and paranoia, you distance yourself from the shore, and then you see a shadow in the murky waters. Number 1, Sarcosuchus. Sarcosuchus, whose literal name means flesh crocodile, gross, is an extinct genus of crocodiliform and distant relative of living crocodiles that lived during the early Cretaceous. From the late Hauterivian to the early Albian, 133 to 112 million years ago of what is now Africa and South America. The genus name comes from the Greek sarx, meaning flesh, and sochus, meaning crocodile. It was one of the largest crocodile-like reptiles, with the largest specimen of S. imperator reaching approximately 9 to 9.5 meters, or 29.5 to 31.2 feet long, and weighing up to 3.45 to 4.3 metric tons. It is known from 2 species, S. imperator from the early Albian eras formation of Niger, and S. harti from the late Hauterivian of northeastern Brazil. The first remains were discovered during several expeditions led by the French paleontologist Albert Félix de Lapparent, spanning from 1946 to 1959 in the Sahara. These remains were fragments of the skull, skull, vertebrae, teeth, and scutes. In 1964, an almost complete skull was found in Niger by the French CEA, but it was not until 1997 and 2000 that most of its anatomy became known to science, with an expedition led by the American paleontologist Paul Sereno discovered 6 new species, including one with about half the skeleton intact and most of the spine. Number 10. Ping pong tree sponge. Ping pong tree sponges have a distinctive appearance that sets them apart from any other sponge species. They are typically spherical or oval shaped, resembling a ping pong ball in size and appearance. The sponge's surface is covered in tiny hair-like structures called spicules, which give it a bristly texture. These sponges are primarily found in deep sea environments, typically at depths ranging from 1,000 to 3,000 meters. They are often attached to hard substrates, such as rocks or other deep sea features. Like other sponges, ping pong tree sponges are filter feeders. They use specialized cells called choanocytes to generate water currents that bring in tiny plankton and organic particles. Number 9. Fangtooth fish. The fangtooth fish is a small but terrifying looking deep sea fish that is found in oceans around the world. It is known for its distinctive appearance, particularly its long sharp teeth, which give it its common name. Fangtooth fish are small, typically reaching lengths of around 6 to 7 inches. Despite their small size, they have one of the largest teeth to body size ratios of any fish in the ocean. Their teeth are disproportionately large, especially the pair of long fang-like teeth in the front of their jaws. The fangtooth fish's teeth are so large that they cannot fully close their mouths. The teeth are sharp and pointed, and they are used for capturing and holding prey. Number 8. Zombie worms. Zombie worms, scientifically known as osedacs, are fascinating and unusual marine creatures that have adapted to an extreme and somewhat gruesome lifestyle. These worms are found in the depths of the ocean, specifically on the bones of dead marine animals, such as whales that have sunk to the ocean floor. What makes zombie worms truly unique is their ability to extract nutrients from the bones of these creatures. Zombie worms possess a symbiotic relationship with bacteria that live inside them. These bacteria produce enzymes that break down the collagen and lipids found in the bones of dead animals. The worms absorb these nutrients, effectively eating the bones. This specialized adaptation allows them to thrive in an otherwise harsh and nutrient-poor environment. These worms are quite small, often just a few millimeters long, and they lack a traditional digestive system. Number 7. Dumbo octopus. The Dumbo octopus, named after the Disney character Dumbo due to its ear-like fins, boasts several distinctive attributes that set it apart in the underwater world. These remarkable creatures, which belong to the genus Grimpoteuthis, inhabit the deep ocean at depths ranging from 3,000 to 7,000 meters. Their most eye-catching feature is their ear-like webbed fins that resemble the iconic ears of an elephant. These fins are not only for aesthetics but serve as efficient means of locomotion, allowing the Dumbo octopus to gracefully fly through the waters with a combination of gentle flapping and pulsating movements. In addition to their peculiar fins, Dumbo octopuses possess a soft, gelatinous body in stark contrast to the more muscular bodies of their close relatives. This adaptation enables them to move with greater flexibility and efficiency in the deep sea environment. They are often translucent or white, helping them blend in with the faint ambient light in their dark habitat. Number 6. Deep sea hatchetfish. Deep sea hatchetfish are captivating and peculiar creatures that inhabit the abyssal depths of the world's oceans. These fish have several unique features and adaptations that allow them to thrive in the extreme conditions of the deep sea. One of the most distinctive attributes of deep sea hatchetfish is their flattened, hatchet-shaped bodies. This shape allows them to minimize water resistance as they move through the water, making them agile and efficient swimmers. Their silvery or metallic colored bodies are highly reflective, helping them blend into the dimly lit, open water environment of the deep sea, while also making them less visible to potential predators and prey. Hatchetfish possess specialized bioluminescent organs called photophores, which are located along their bodies. These photophores emit light, and deep sea hatchetfish can control the intensity and direction of this light. They use this bioluminescence for various purposes, such as camouflage, communication, attracting prey, or distracting predators. Number 5. Benthichodon jellyfish. Benthicoton jellyfish are intriguing and unique members of the jellyfish family found in the deep ocean. These jellyfish are characterized by several distinct features and adaptations that allow them to thrive in their deep sea habitat. One of the most striking attributes of Benthicoton jellyfish is their transparency. They are nearly translucent, allowing them to blend seamlessly into the dimly lit, dark waters of the deep ocean. This adaptation helps them avoid detection by potential predators and makes them incredibly difficult to spot. Mariana snailfish. The Mariana snailfish is a remarkable and little known fish species that inhabits the deepest parts of the world's oceans. These snailfish have several unique attributes that enable them to survive in the extreme conditions of the Mariana Trench and other deep sea environments. One of the most distinctive features of the Mariana snailfish is its ability to withstand crushing pressures, found at depths of over 7,000 meters. They lack swim bladders, which are gas-filled organs found in most fish species to help regulate buoyancy, and instead have a soft, gelatinous body that is more compressible. This allows them to adapt to the high-pressure environment without being crushed. These snailfish are highly adapted to the pitch-black darkness of the deep ocean. They have large, sensitive eyes that help them detect bioluminescent prey and navigate in the absence of natural light. Their bodies are often translucent or pale in color, helping them blend into their dimly lit surroundings. Barrel-eye fish. The barrel-eye fish, also known as the spookfish or Macropinna microstoma, is a highly unusual and mesmerizing deep-sea creature found in the world's oceans. These fish are renowned for their transparent, fluid-filled heads and remarkable adaptations that enable them to thrive in the extreme conditions of the deep ocean. One of the most distinctive features of the barrel-eye fish is its transparent, dome-shaped head, which provides a unique window into the inner workings of the animal. Within this transparent enclosure, their eyes are housed. These eyes are exceptionally sensitive and can rotate within the head to look upward and forward, allowing the fish to spot prey and potential threats in the darkness above. Number 2. Vampire squid. The vampire squid is a captivating and enigmatic deep-sea cephalopod that inhabits the dark, oxygen-depleted waters of the deep ocean, particularly in the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones. Despite its ominous name, the vampire squid is not a blood-sucking creature, but rather a unique and intriguing marine species. One of the most distinctive features of the vampire squid is its striking appearance. It has large reddish eyes with bioluminescent properties, which it uses to detect faint sources of light in the deep sea. Its body is covered in a dark webbed cloak that gives it a vampiric appearance, hence the name. This cloak is actually a soft gelatinous mantle that serves as a defensive mechanism when threatened. When disturbed, the vampire squid can wrap its cloak around its body, effectively hiding its appendages and creating the appearance of a larger, more menacing creature to deter potential predators. Frilled shark. The frilled shark is a highly unusual and ancient species of shark that dwells in the deep ocean, primarily in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Known for its prehistoric appearance, this shark exhibits a range of unique features and adaptations. One of the most distinctive characteristics of the frilled shark is its eel-like body, which can grow up to 6.5 feet or 2 meters or more in length. It is named after the fringed or frilly appearance of its gills, which differ from the typical gill slits found in most sharks. Instead of 5 pairs of gill slits, the frilled shark possesses 6 to 7 pairs, giving its gills an unusual fringed appearance. This shark is primarily a deep-sea dweller, inhabiting depths ranging from 500 to 1500 meters, or even deeper. It prefers the pitch black and cold waters of the deep ocean, where it encounters very little natural light. Number 10. Polar bear. The polar bear is the undisputed king of the Arctic, and its terrifying reputation is well earned. These colossal apex predators can weigh up to a staggering 1,500 pounds, with males being larger than females. Their sheer size and powerful build make them one of the most formidable land carnivores on Earth. What truly sets them apart is their hunting prowess. Polar bears are excellent swimmers, and they can cover long distances in the freezing Arctic waters in search of seals, their primary prey. With sharp claws and strong paws, they can break through thick sea ice to access seal dens and launch surprise attacks. Their white fur provides excellent camouflage on the ice, allowing them to stalk seals with incredible stealth. This silent and relentless pursuit adds an extra layer of terror when encountering these majestic yet fearsome creatures in their natural habitat. Number 9. Arctic Wolf. Arctic wolves are ghostly figures in the frozen landscape, blending seamlessly with their pure white fur, which serves as both insulation and camouflage. These wolves are masterful hunters, and what makes them particularly intimidating is their pack mentality. They form highly coordinated packs, each member playing a specific role in the hunt. This strategic teamwork enables them to take down large prey, including musk oxen and caribou, in a synchronized and relentless manner. Number 8. Arctic Fox. The Arctic fox, with its eerie adaptability, is a creature of both beauty and intimidation in the Arctic. Their fur undergoes a remarkable transformation, changing from brown in the summer to a pristine white in the winter, allowing them to blend seamlessly with the snow-covered terrain. This chameleon-like ability makes them incredibly elusive, and they use it to their advantage when hunting and evading predators. However, their true intimidation factor lies in their cunning and opportunism. Arctic foxes are swift and agile, capable of outmaneuvering their prey in the deep snow, yet they are also known as opportunistic scavengers, often stealing food from larger predators like polar bears and wolves. This fearless approach to survival adds a layer of unpredictability to their behavior, making them an intriguing and sometimes eerie presence in the Arctic ecosystem. Number 7. Wolverine. Wolverines, despite their relatively small size compared to the other Arctic predators, possess a reputation for tenacity and ferocity that makes them truly intimidating. These solitary creatures are armed with powerful jaws and sharp teeth capable of crushing bones and frozen meat with ease. They have an uncanny fearlessness that allows them to take on much larger animals when foraging for food. Wolverines are notorious scavengers, and they will not hesitate to confront and intimidate even the likes of grizzly bears and wolves to steal their hard-earned kills. Their sheer determination and willingness to engage in confrontations make them a force to be reckoned with in the harsh Arctic wilderness, earning them the nickname Glutton or Devil Bear. This fearless disposition and their ability to survive in extreme cold temperatures make them one of the Arctic's most intriguing and fearsome inhabitants. Number 6. Arctic Squaw. The Arctic squaw, a large seabird that frequents the Arctic region, is an intimidating presence in the sky. These birds are known for their aggressive behavior, particularly during the breeding season when they fiercely defend their nests. What sets them apart is their aerial prowess. Arctic squaws are skilled aerial predators known to engage in rapid and precise aerial attacks on intruders near their nests. They can swoop down with astonishing speed and precision, using their sharp beaks and talons to deter threats. This aggressive behavior, combined with their mastery of the skies, makes encounters with these birds in the Arctic a captivating yet potentially unsettling experience. Number 5. The Arctic Hare. The Arctic hare, seemingly harmless in appearance, possesses unique adaptations that make it a fascinating and integral part of the Arctic ecosystem. Their intimidating qualities lies in their adaptability to extreme cold. Their thick white fur provides insulation against frigid temperatures, allowing them to thrive in the harsh Arctic environment. While they might not be predators themselves, they are essential prey for larger carnivores such as Arctic foxes and snowy owls. Their large, alert eyes and keen senses keep them vigilant in the face of potential threats, adding to their significance in the intricate web of Arctic life. And if you're ever hungry, their fur is as white as the snow around them, and they'll probably keep an eye out on you before you get an eye on them. So good luck hunting. Number 4. Snowy Owl. The snowy owl, with its striking appearance and mysterious behavior, can be considered eerie in the desolate Arctic landscape. These large owls are known for their pristine white plumage, which provides excellent camouflage against the snow. What makes them particularly captivating and potentially scary is their piercing gaze and silent flight. Snowy owls are skilled hunters, and they move through the Arctic terrain with remarkable stealth, making them seem like spectral figures in their desolation. Their haunting calls and solitary nature add to their enigmatic presence, making encounters with these majestic creatures a memorable and somewhat eerie experience in the remote Arctic wilderness. Number 3. Arctic Tern. The Arctic tern may not have the typical attributes of scariness, but its extraordinary migratory behavior adds a unique element of awe and wonder. These birds embark on one of the most incredible journeys in the avian world, flying from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back, covering thousands of miles. What sets them apart is their relentless determination to migrate across two polar extremes, navigating through treacherous weather conditions and avoiding various predators along the way. Witnessing their ceaseless journey, which spans continents and hemispheres, can be both eerie and inspiring, as it showcases the remarkable resilience of these small yet mighty creatures in the face of daunting challenges. Number 2. Leopard seal. While primarily found in the waters surrounding the Arctic, the leopard seal is a formidable and somewhat terrifying presence. These large marine predators are known for their powerful jaws lined with sharp teeth, resembling those of their namesake, leopards. What makes them truly intimidating is their aggressive hunting behavior. Leopard seals are skilled hunters and have been observed attacking and consuming various prey, including penguins and other seals. Their agile and stealthy underwater maneuvers, combined with their fearsome appearance, make encounters with these apex predators a spine-chilling experience for those exploring Arctic waters. Number 1. Arctic char. The Arctic char, while not traditionally scary, possesses unique skills that contribute to the intrigue of the Arctic's aquatic ecosystem. These fish have evolved to survive in extremely cold waters, and their intimidating qualities lies in their ability to thrive in such harsh conditions. Their ability to maintain metabolic functions in near-freezing waters showcases their remarkable resilience. As a crucial part of the Arctic food chain, Arctic char serves as prey for larger predators, highlighting their significance in the delicate balance of the icy environment. While their appearance may not be intimidating, their role in sustaining Arctic life underscores their importance in the ecosystem's complex web.
At our number 10 spot, we have the Mongolian deathworm. The Gobi Desert, located between Mongolia and China, is said to have the Mongolian deathworm, otherwise known as the intestine worm due to its appearance of being fleshy and red in color. This 2 to 7 feet long creature has the ability to spit out venomous liquid out of its mouth, and if you even get close enough to touch the creature, it's believed that the entire body is covered in this sticky, poisonous substance that will kill you just on touch alone. And if that wasn't enough, it can even electrocute you in the same way you can. While movies of the creature depicted as this large, colossal being, it's believed to be a lot smaller at around 7 feet in its total length. But regardless, the fact that this creature can hide literally anywhere in the desert sands and come out basically whenever it wants, and it has no weaknesses, it makes it one of the most dangerous and scariest ones on this list. At our number 9 spot, we have the Diaosi. This mythical creature is also known as the hanged ghost, and it's said that the people who have taken their life through hanging or have been executed that way come back and become this vengeful spirit. They claim the spirit appears as a decaying corpse with a long red tongue that hangs far out of their mouth, never going back into their mouth. And let me tell you, these guys smell horrendous as well. So you could imagine how terrifying this would be to encounter, except if you're a Kiss fan and you're used to this sticking tongue stuff. According to legend, these spirits will appear to unsuspecting people during night, usually by a tree or a building. Then they'll try to convince others to join them in the afterlife. So in China, it's best to avoid places where people have taken their life, because this is where these spirits tend to wander. If you decide to do the complete opposite, the creature will follow you around for your entire life, causing bad luck every corner of the way. At number 8 spot, we have the Akaname. The Akaname is straight out of Japanese myth. It is described to be this small goblin looking creature about the size of a child, except they're hideous. They have greasy, slimy hair, and their body is completely oily. If that didn't make you uncomfortable, maybe the fact that they use their long tongues to lick bathroom floors will. But don't worry, they won't appear in clean bathrooms, as their dirty long tongues have nothing to lick. Instead, they target bathrooms that have been neglected and are dirty. So people, do yourself and everyone a favor and clean your bathrooms, please. They lick and devour any of the filth, grease, hair, and waste that they come across, and the Akaname also chooses to stay away from humans, but instead they creep in the darkness and multiply at rates comparable to a disease spreading. They come in both one-eyed and two-eyed variations, which only adds to the fact that these are grotesque creatures. So I stress this again, clean your bathroom so we can all avoid these type of problems, including stuff with these ugly guys. At number 7 spot, we have the Jiangshi, also known as the Chinese hopping vampire. The Jiangshi comes from a phrase meaning stiff corpse. They are psychic vampire zombies, yes, you heard that right, who feeds off a person's chi rather than their blood. And for those who don't know, chi is considered to be a person's life force, which means that it's the energy that flows throughout your entire body, basically giving you life in a sense. So unlike the vampires we have over here in the West, the Zhangxi prefers not to consume humans or our blood, and they also aren't able to walk, so they are seen hopping around with their hands out in the front of them to maintain their balance. Many believe these creatures are created following a violent death, an improper burial, use of supernatural powers, or you get bit by another one. Remember, they're vampires and zombies, so don't get it confused. This is a horror hybrid of the century. At number 6 spot, we're the Sigbin. Straight out of my home country is yet another disgusting and hideous creature. This creature is said to have the appearance of a half hornless goat and half kangaroo, but when I look at it, I think of a chupacabra, but worse. It has the ability to use its long kangaroo tail to whip others with the force able to knock someone out. They lurk mainly in the night and are known to hunt anyone or anything they see. They will use their sharp teeth to suck out the blood out of their victims, or they'll use it to seek out children to take their hearts just to use for decorations. So pretty horrible stuff, I know, I'm sorry kids. When they do walk around, they actually prefer to walk backwards with their head tucked between their legs like this. Locals in the Philippines claim that some people capture them and keep them as guardians for their property or in these very large jars. I have no idea what my people are doing, but yeah, let's not do this. In the hump of our list, we have the Jenglot. These are small creatures located in Indonesia, but mainly claim their presence specifically in Java. They take on the appearance of a deformed humanoid doll with long growing hair and long nails. The doll by itself causes no harm, but when you begin to feed the doll animal blood or even human blood, it will start to work as black magic. A Jenglot is believed to belong to the vampire family because of its main nourishment comes from the blood of animals or humans. The owner of the Jenglot must feed the creature with a drop of their blood each and every single day. If the owner fails to do so, it is believed that their loved ones will face dire consequences. The blood must not be fed directly to the mouth of the Jenglot, but instead be placed beside it. It's believed that the Jenglots are the spirits of those who passed away after they had practiced black magic in order to obtain everlasting life. Except when they're met with death, the earth would refuse to accept their body, instead turning them into this hideous bloodthirsting creature. At number 4, we have the Flying Head. This one is definitely the strangest one on this list, but it's still scary, so bear with me. The Flying Head, or the Shurubotoshi, is one of Japan's most craziest mythical creatures because it's literally just a floating head. It's believed to be an ancient deity that literally is just a flying head that goes around and eats people. They prefer to attack humans by surprise by hiding on the top of trees or in places where you're completely alone. When they catch up to you, they will drop quickly to the ground like a stone, either squishing you to death or trapping you in its mouth to chew you right after. Either way, you will pass away. If you do manage to evade them, they will stop at nothing to get you and will do so while laughing uncontrollably, which only makes this encounter that much more terrifying. At number 3 spot, we have the Taoti. These creatures from Chinese mythology are definitely one of the most hideous looking creatures from this list of creatures. And we know how beautiful China makes some of these creatures, so this one was just a surprise. They are considered to be one of the 4 evil creatures of the world due to its malevolence and destruction as a creature. If you ever wanted to see these boys in action, depiction of this creature would appear mainly on bronze artifacts, but that first glimpse of them on that movie was all we needed to know that these creatures are not good. At number 2 spot, we have the Tengu. If you ever seen this emoji, then you know what a Tengu somewhat looks like. These creatures live in the mountains and appear to have large feathery wings and wearing a monk robe. Based on the emoji, you already know that their face is red with a long nose and the head of a bird. Originally, the Tengu were seen as evil spirits that caused pure destruction and chaos everywhere they went. This was because Buddhist practices showed that the Tengu were demons and tricksters who opposed Buddha. Tengu were considered demons of death and destruction by Buddhists, but gradually softened into troublesome protectors of forests and mountains, which is the role they continue to play in Japanese folklore. I mean, they look pretty cool and I see it all the time every time I go on my keyboard, and it would be nice if they use them in a video game or something because they're pretty cool looking creatures. At number 1 spot, we're the Nian. To end our point, we got yet another Chinese mythical creature because there are just too many not to mention. The story of the Nian goes that they would feast on human flesh every single New Year's Day. On this day, they would come out of their hiding place in the mountains and raid villages, eat their crops, and when that wasn't enough, they would attack the humans. Except they would begin to notice that the creature would run away by the end of the night when they started to celebrate New Year's. They started to believe it was because they used a lot of the color red, which was the same color as the Nian, which could have acted as intimidation. They also noticed that fire and a lot of noise would scare away the creature, so every single year the festivals got bigger and and louder to frighten the beast away for good. The neon is described as being a flat-faced lion with the body of a bull and the horn of a unicorn, and ever since, the neon has been used during the festivals to commemorate the once terrifying creature.
Number 10. Monkey humans. An international team of researchers added human stem cells to macaque monkey embryos and watched as they survived and multiplied as one. The scientists effectively created genetic chimeras, a term borrowed from the mythical monster to describe one organism with genes from multiple individuals. Juan Belmonte, a professor at the Salk Institute and co-author of this study, insists that this is not about creating a full-grown chimera with human and animal traits. Our goal is not to generate any new organism, any monster, he told NPR. And we are not doing anything like that. We are trying to understand how cells from different organisms communicate with one another. Sure, sounds like a cover story to me. He adds that the discovery could lead to better understanding of human biology and diseases, as well as more effective human chimeras involving less similar species. That perhaps could lead to animals being used to grow organs for human transplant. Belmonte and his team injected 25 human stem cells into macaque embryos taken 6 days after fertilization. Human cells were found growing inside 132 of the embryos after 1 day, and 103 chimeras were still alive after day 10. Nearly all had passed away by day 19, and the rest were destroyed on day 20. Number 9. Mice with human brain cells. 8 years ago, researchers at Stanford University started an ambitious experiment. They began growing miniature, simplified versions of the human brain from stem cells inside a lab, then later injected that tissue into the brains of newborn rats. The results showed that the brain-like human tissue integrated with the rat tissue, then continued to mature. Those brain cells, in turn, seemed to influence the rat's behavior. The researchers injected the human tissue into the rats' somatosensory cortexes, regions that receive and process sensory information like touch or pain. After about 2 weeks of training, the rats began to lick a spout in search of water whenever the researchers simulated the brain neurons. They did this using blue light lasers. The researchers also used a puff of air to prod the rats' whiskers, then observed how the human neurons responded. We found that human neurons respond very quickly after we stimulated the whiskers. In fact, more than 70% of the human neurons were engaged in some form of activity within a second or so of that stimulation. So that tells us that they're probably connected. Sergio Posca, one of the study's authors and a professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences at Stanford, said on a call with reporters. Number 8. A mouse virus with human genes. In collaboration with a team from Harvard Medical School, researchers led by Pedro Simas and Kenneth Kay studied a protein of the Kaposi virus vital for maintaining infection. Without this protein, called LANA, the virus loses its ability to cause cancer. The team found that when LANA is cloned into a virus similar to Kaposi but which infects mice instead of humans, it preserves its functionality. This finding came as a surprise since it was assumed that as a consequence of the evolutionary divergence between human and other animal viruses, the genes that code for LANA could not be switched. However, the work now published in PLOS Pathogens showed that even though there are more than 60 million years of evolutive divergence between the human sarcoma herpes virus and its rodent homologue, LANA's functional mechanisms are preserved. These findings allowed researchers to create a chimera virus, a mouse virus with a human viral gene that can be used to test molecules that inhibit human LANA protein in an animal model of disease, treating not only human herpes virus infection, but also its associated cancers. These molecules will hopefully be used in the future as substances to treat Kaposi virus associated lymphomas. Number 7. Human-pig hybrid. In a remarkable, if likely controversial feat, scientists announced that they have created the first successful human-animal hybrids. The project proves that human cells can be introduced into a non-human organism, survive, and even grow inside a host animal, in this case, pigs. This biomedical advance has long been a dream and a quandary for scientists hoping to address a critical shortage of donor organs. What if, rather than relying on a generous donor, you could grow a custom organ inside an animal instead? That's now one step closer to reality, an international team of researchers led by the Salk Institute reports in the journal Cell. The team created what's known scientifically as a chimera, an organism that contains cells from 2 different species. In the past, human-animal chimeras have been beyond reach. Such experiments are currently ineligible for public funding in the United States. So far, the Salk team has relied on private donors for the chimera project. Public opinion too has hampered the creation of organisms that are part human, part animal. But for lead study author Jun Wu of the Salk Institute, we need only look to mythical chimeras, like the human-bird hybrids we know as angels, for a different perspective. In ancient civilizations, chimeras were associated with God, he says, and our ancestors thought the chimeric form can guard humans. In a sense, that's what the team hopes human-animal hybrids will one day do. Or are they just playing God? Number 6. Mice with human booties. The first working replacement anal sphincters have been built in a laboratory and tested on mice. Now, scientists hope the research will benefit humans with fecal and urinary incontinence because current methods used to repair internal anal sphincters, such as skeletal muscle grafts, silicone injections, or mechanical implants, have only had limited success. In essence, we have built a replacement sphincter that we hope can one day benefit human patients. This is the first bioengineered sphincter made with both muscle and nerve cells, making it pre-wired for placement in the body. Senior author Khalil N. Bitar, a professor of regenerative medicine at Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center's Institute for Regenerative Medicine, said in a Wake Forest news release, "Scientists were able to make the bioengineered anal sphincters in about 6 weeks using human muscle and nerve cells. They found the sphincters were able to generate blood supply and work properly in mice. The investigators hope that their research will lead to a more effective treatment for humans because there is a high rate of weakened internal anal sphincters in older adults. Women who had episiotomies during childbirth can also be affected by this condition. It's weird, but it's for a good cause, so maybe it's not so bad." Number 5. Human-rabbit hybrid. That's right guys, scientists in China in 2003 had for the first time used cloning techniques to create hybrid embryos that contain a mix of DNA from both humans and rabbits, according to a report in a scientific journal that has reignited the smoldering ethics debate over cloning research. More than 100 of the hybrids made by fusing human skin cells with rabbit eggs were allowed to develop in laboratory dishes for several days before the scientists destroyed them to retrieve so-called embryonic stem cells from their interiors. Although scientists in Massachusetts had previously mixed human cells and cow eggs in a similar attempt to make hybrid embryos as a source of stem cells, those experiments were not successful. The vast majority of the DNA in the embryos is human, with a small percentage of genetic material called mitochondrial DNA contributed by the rabbit egg. No one knows if such an embryo could develop into a viable fetus, though some experiments with other species suggest it would not. And I already know what you guys are thinking. Stop. Judy Hopps is fictional. Don't even think about it. Number 4. Human with animal organs. Stephanie Faye Beauclair, better known as Baby Faye, was an American infant born in 1984 with hypoplastic left heart syndrome. She became the first infant subject of a xenotransplant procedure and first successful infant heart transplant, receiving the heart of a baboon. Though she passed within a month of the procedure, she lived weeks longer than any previous recipient of a non-human heart. The procedure, performed by Leonard Lee Bailey at Loma Linda University Medical Center, was successful, but Faye passed away 21 days later of heart failure due to rejection of the transplant. The rejection is thought to have been caused largely by a humoral response against the graft, due to Faye's type O blood creating antibodies against the type AB xenograft. The blood type incompatibility was seen as unavoidable. Fewer than 1% of baboons are type O, and Loma Linda only had 7 young female baboons, all of which were type AB, available as potential donors. A baboon heart was used as there was no time for a suitable human heart to be found. It was hoped that the transplant could be replaced by an allograft at a later date, before Faye's body began generating isohemagglutinin. But a suitable donor could not be found in time. Prior to the procedure, no infant heart transplant, even with human hearts, had been successfully performed due to a lack of infant human hearts. To address this issue, Bailey had become a pioneer in the research of cross-species heart transplants, which had included more than 150 transplants in sheep, goats, and baboons. Number 3. Pigs with human blood. The embryos did not grow into part human piglets, and the technique was far from perfect, the researchers reported in the journal Cell. And these are not the first animals that are part human, part animal. but it's the first time this particular technique has been used to make chimeras, animals with parts from two different species. The experiments being done by Juan Carlos Izbiza Belmonte at the Salk Institute in California and colleagues are controversial. The National Institutes of Health only proposed lifting its ban on funding such work pretty recently. The team followed guidelines issued by the International Society for Stem Cell Research. Belmonte said the embryos are only grown long enough for different types of tissue to develop clearly. These particular embryos had some human muscle cells, for instance. There are sheep spliced with human genes that produce human proteins in their milk for treating a rare lung disease. Scientists have created pigs that produce human blood and injected human stem cells into paralyzed mice to help them walk again. Animal-human hybrids can be used as sources for organs to transplant, as we talked about before, for blood and for immune system products. According to the United Network for Organ Sharing, 118,744 people were on waiting lists for an organ transplant in 2017. Organs with human DNA would be more likely to survive transplant into a person. Number 2, the Vacanti mouse. The Vacanti mouse was a laboratory mouse that had what looked like a human ear growing on its back. The ear was actually an ear-shaped cartilage structure grown by seeding cow cartilage cells into biodegradable ear-shaped mold and then implanted under the skin of the mouse, with an external ear-shaped splint to maintain the desired shape. Then, the cartilage naturally grew by itself within the restricted shape and size. The splint was removed briefly to take the publicity pictures and is very controversial. The E-mouse, as it became known, was created by Charles A. Vacanti in the Department of Anesthesiology at Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard Medical School. Number 1, Humanzee. There have been no scientifically verified specimens of a human-chimpanzee hybrid, but there have been substantiated reports of unsuccessful attempts to create one in the Soviet Union in the 1920s, and various unsubstantiated reports on similar attempts during the second half of the 20th century. Ilya Ivanov was the first person to attempt to create a human-chimpanzee hybrid by artificial insemination. Ivanov outlined his idea as early as 1910 in a presentation to the World Congress of Zoologists in Graz. In the 1920s, Ivanov carried out a series of experiments culminating in inseminating 3 female chimpanzees with human sperm, but he failed to achieve a pregnancy. These initial experiments took place in French Guiana. In 1929, he attempted to organize a set of experiments involving non-human ape sperm and human volunteers, but was delayed by the passing of his last orangutan. The next year, he fell under political criticism from the Soviet government and was sentenced to exile in Kazakhstan. He worked there as a Kazakh Veterinary Zootechnical Institute and passed away of a stroke 2 years later.
At a number 10 spot, we have the Emerald Jewel Wasp. The Emerald Jewel Wasp has the ability to turn cockroaches into zombies. Yup, you heard that right. The wasp manipulation of the cockroach is a truly remarkable and horrifying process. These wasps reproduce by stinging a cockroach and paralyzing it with its venom. The first sting targets the thoracic ganglion, which is part of the central nervous system. This ends up paralyzing the front legs of the cockroach. Then after this, the wasp delivers a second sting, and this time targeting the brain of the cockroach. The stings aren't meant to kill, but to give the wasp control of the cockroach, turning it into a zombie. The wasp then bites off the head of its antennas. It then leads the half-paralyzed, brain-dead cockroach along by its antenna, using it as a lead towards its burrow. Inside of the burrow, it lays eggs inside of the roach in a place known as a coxal plate. Then it buries it alive. While in its tomb, the larvae will hatch from within the cockroach, and over a period of a week, they'll begin to feed off the still alive cockroach from the inside. Once it's done eating, it eventually bursts out of the cockroach in a manner reminiscent of the famous scene from the movie Alien. Number 9, the Liopleurodon. Imagine, if you will, a creature that is as big as a school bus with an everlasting thirst for blood, gliding through the warm tropical shallow seas of the late Jurassic. This is exactly what the Liopleurodon was. A massive marine reptile that measured up to 82 feet in length and was also considered one of the deadliest predators in the history of life on Earth. With its massive head, short neck, and powerful flippers, this creature was a formidable predator. Its jaws were lined with needle-sharp teeth that were capable of killing any other marine animal at the time. The skull and jawbones were specifically strengthened to help them withstand the powerful biting force of its jaws. This ancient beast was a true apex predator, preying on other giant marine reptiles and fish, particularly marine crocodiles, sharks, and all sorts of other pliosaurs. But the most impressive prey item on its menu was the 90-foot giant fish known as a Leetzichthys. Liopleurodon was an ambush predator, lying in wait for its prey to pass by. It was capable of holding its breath for at least an hour, making it a stealthy hunter. It also had a nose that was capable of picking up any scent without inhaling any water, similar to a shark, allowing it to detect prey from considerable distances. But Liopleurodon wasn't just a killing machine, it was also a survivor. It was long-lived, capable of surviving to over 100 years old, and like crocodiles, it grew constantly throughout its life. And as a reptile, it still needed to breathe air, but because of its immense size, it could not leave the water, even for short periods of time. Number 8, the Candiru. This fish is the only fish feared by men. Why? Well, because it has the ability to swim up your... yeah, you know. The Candiru is a small parasitic freshwater catfish that is said to be able to enter a man's urethra, attach itself with its spines, and cause immense pain. And I know all my fellow guys can feel this pain through the screen. The legend of this creature has been circulating for centuries, and it is deeply ingrained in the cultural imagination since there is no real evidence of this actually happening. But there are many stories of it. The Candiru lives in the Amazon and is said to be attracted to the smell of urine, leading it to swim up a man's urine stream and enter the urethra. The catfish is usually 17 centimeters long and can grow up to 40 centimeters long, and apart from their unique talent of entering a male's urethra, it usually attaches to the gills of larger fish instead and uses their spines on their gills to cling to their prey, causing inflammation, hemorrhage, and then death. The first account of Candirus entering the human body took place surprisingly in women. Earliest reports date back to 1829. German biologist von Martius only heard of the story secondhand from local people from the region. The local people of the region supposedly wore jock straps made of coconut shells when they bathed in the river as a preventative measure. It wasn't until 1997 when a 23-year-old man claimed that a Candiru had jumped from the water into his urethra as he urinated in knee-deep water in Brazil. This claim was met with much skepticism, and marine biologist Stephen Spott concluded that the Candiru's teeth were not strong enough to chew through such tissue. In conclusion, while the legend of the Candiru is a fascinating one, there seems to be little evidence to support the idea that it is a real threat to human health. But just the fear of having a fish go up your, you know what, doesn't sound too appealing at all, and definitely makes it one of the most terrifying creatures to ever exist. At our number 7 spot, we have the Basilosaurus. When we see whales now, we see them as gentle giants, but back in the prehistoric times, these large creatures had teeth like this. This animal was the Basilosaurus, a prehistoric whale that lived between 40 to 34 million years ago during the late Eocene period. The name Basilosaurus, which means king lizard in Greek, is fitting for this formidable creature. Measuring up to 70 feet in length and weighing between 10 to 15 tons, the Basilosaurus was one of the largest marine animals of its time. Its body structure, more eel-like than whale-like, caused initial confusion among scientists and earned it the name sea serpent. Basilosaurus also possessed a unique physical feature, with its blowhead located on its snout, unlike the more primitive whales that had it at the tip of their snout, or the modern whales and dolphins that have it located between or behind the eyes. But the worst thing was that these creatures were the top predator in their environment. They basically preyed on sharks and all types of other gigantic predatory fish. And the reason why this is known is because some of these animals are just found with bite marks of this creature. Number 6, terror birds. Imagine racing through the vast Argentina plains and you see a strange feathery bird towering over you, and as you walk up, you see it pecking its prey to death with a hooked beak mounted on its head as big as a horse's. These were the terror birds, the most dominant flightless bird to ever exist. And let me tell you, they truly lived up to their name. These creatures were not only tall, 10 feet to be exact, but they were also fast and fierce, embodying the power of their predatory dinosaur relatives before them. The terror birds were the only line of carnivorous flightless birds to ever exist. Luckily, these species were kept in the Cenozoic era, some 62 million years ago. But if you wanted to imagine these, just imagine an overgrown ostrich with a beak that can completely crush your skull in one peck. They dominated South America, ruling over a diverse fauna made up of primitive mammalian herbivores and small carnivorous mammals. The terror bird has also been studied extensively, and many theories have been proposed about how they hunted. Some scientists believe that they are cheetah like runners, chasing down their prey with lightning speed, while others think they are more like kickboxers, using their massive beaks to render their prey helpless. But one thing is for sure, these birds had powerful beaks and necks that could withstand a great deal of force, making them one of the most terrifying creatures to ever exist. In the hump of our list, we have sea scorpions. All I gotta say is, 8 feet long scorpions? Need I say more? Eurypterids, also known as sea scorpions, were a group of ancient aquatic predators that roamed the waters during the Paleozoic era over 400 million years ago. Despite their nickname, sea scorpions were not actually scorpions, but they are believed to be closely related to arachnids, a group that includes scorpions, spiders, and horseshoe crabs. These ancient creatures varied in size, with most of the fossil specimens discovered being the size of lobsters or even smaller. However, there are two giant species that stood up in the fossil record. The first is Echelopterus, which may have been the largest arthropod ever to live, measuring up to 7 feet in length. The second pterygoid was just inches shorter and may have been a scavenger, but regardless, these guys were huge. These creatures were carnivores as well, and they would hunt and eat different aquatic animals using its pincers and spiked tail. These strong and sharp claws helped them firmly hold on to their prey where they couldn't escape and they would be consumed later. They also had compound eyes, which also aided in their hunting. And to make these guys even more scarier, they had the ability to walk on land for short periods. This just meant that there were few places for the prey, which may have included early arthropods, fish, and amphibians to hide. Their presence in the ocean likely played a role in the evolutionary arms race that led to the development of armored and terrifying predators, spurring the ancestors of modern terrestrial animals to abandon the ocean. And if these guys existed today, I bet we would avoid all parts of their natural habitat. Number 4, the Titanoboa. A silent hunter once roamed deep in the South American jungle, known as the Titanoboa. The Titanoboa snake was unlike any other animal in history, a true giant among predators. With its massive size and incredible strength, it was the undisputed ruler of the prehistoric jungle 60 million years ago. The death of the giant reptiles left a vacuum at the top of the food chain, and Titanoboa gladly stepped up to it. This prehistoric species grew up to 50 feet in length and weighed as much as 2.5 tons. That's as long as a semi-trailer you see on highways and about as twice as heavy as a polar bear. So yeah, pretty terrifying. At its thickest point, Titanoboa was 3 feet wide, which is longer than a human arm for some people. In the hot, humid jungle, Titanoboa fits right in, its brown skin camouflaged perfectly as it slunk through muddy waters. Its behavior is a topic of debate among paleontologists. Some scientists think it killed by constriction and asphyxiation, while others argue that it kind of behaved like an anaconda, lurking in the shadows and ambushing unsuspecting animals with a stunning blow. Just imagine wandering the jungle and coming face to face with a predator of such monstrous proportions. It is both mesmerizing, but more so incredibly terrifying to think about. Number 3, the Deinosuchus. Just when you thought crocodiles were already terrifying, we have a giant prehistoric crocodile known as a Deinosuchus. Deinosuchus, meaning terror crocodile, was a giant crocodilian that roamed the earth around 72 to 82 million years ago, during the late Cretaceous period. This prehistoric creature was likely one of the most terrifying predators of its time, and its discovery is shedding new light on the ancient world of dinosaurs. Deinosuchus had teeth the size of bananas, which were perfect for crushing bones of large prey such as dinosaurs. Paleontologists have found evidence of the Deinosuchus bite marks on a number of fossil bones, including those of theropod dinosaurs, hadrosaurs, and turtles. The bite marks just showed how dangerous the animal could have been, and scientists theorize that the creature likely used a technique known as the death roll to take down its prey. You know, that method still used by alligators and crocodiles to this day? To hunt, these creatures would lie in wait in shallow waters at the edge of the sea, and when an unsuspecting dinosaur came to take a drink, the Deinosuchus would drag them into the water and proceed to tear them apart with its powerful jaws. What makes this creature particularly interesting is that it outweighed even the largest theropod dinosaurs, making it the chief predator in the ecosystem and possibly the largest crocodilian ever known. Imagine if it still lurked our waters. Number 2, the Dunkleosteus. While we have a piranha that can rip through human flesh, there's another fish that can chomp straight through bone. This creature is known as the Dunkleosteus. Let's just all be thankful they went extinct. So during the late Devonian period, around 360 to 380 million years ago, Dunkleosteus ruled over the world's oceans with an iron fist. Named in honor of Dr. David Dunkel, former curator of vertebrate paleontology at Cleveland Museum of Natural History, this fish had giant bone plates in its head and jaws that served as tank-like protective armor, making it an even more fearsome predator. Dunkleosteus was massive, estimated to be 20 to 33 feet long and weighing up to 1 to 4 tons. So not only did this fish pack a punch, but it was a complete unit of a creature. Despite its lack of teeth, this fish was truly a force to be reckoned with. Its bite packed anywhere around 11,000 to 21,000 pounds per square inch of force, even more powerful than a great white shark. Its jaw plates were also self-sharpening, making it capable of eating almost anything, including its own kind. Research suggests that this creature was so powerful that it may have been the main cause of extinction for many of the species in the oceans, which is just so insane to think about. Number 1, the Anthroplora. Are you afraid of little centipedes? Well, you're gonna hate this guy. Introducing the Anthroplura. Anthroplura was a giant centipede that lived during the late Carboniferous period, around 299 to 318 million years ago. It is considered one of the largest land invertebrates of the time, with some species reaching up to 2.5 meters in length and over 30 centimeters in width. It had a segmented body that was covered in a hard exoskeleton, which protected it from predators. Each segment of its body had 2 pairs of legs, giving it an impressive total of up to 236 legs. It likely moved by undulating its body in a wave-like motion, using its many legs to crawl over the forest floor. Luckily for all the meaty animals, this creature was a herbivore, and probably fed on the lush vegetation that existed during this period, such as club mosses, ferns, and horsetails. It likely had a slow lumbering movement and a low metabolic rate, which would have allowed it to survive on the relatively low nutrient vegetation of the time. Remains of Anthroplura have been found in Europe and North America, indicating that it was a widespread and successful species. However, like many other species from this period, it went extinct at the end of it, possibly due to the change in climate or the evolution of new predators.